How to hit and not get hit. If you're looking for something to help you improve this theory, look no further, guys. I've got you. Let's go. Hey team, welcome back to the channel. Hitting and not getting hit. Now, it's combat sports. Nothing is implausible that you're going to get hit at some point. But we can do a few things to minimize this as much as we can. There's this really weird thing in combat sports where people mirror you. You may have seen it in Thai boxing, MMA or whatever, where someone throws a rear leg kick, boom. What happens next? Next person throws the same thing back at you. Happens in boxing as well. You pop a jab, they pop a jab back at you. So, we're going to look at something called TDA, trigger, defense and attack. Triggering your opponent to do something to mirror you, defending it and counter-attacking from there. We're going to look at a few drills that you can do right now at home to help you improve this theory. Let's go. So number one, if you are relatively new to boxing, you probably shouldn't be sparring yet. There's a lot to work on beforehand. So you can work these drills in a shadow boxing form or on a heavy bag, which we'll do. If you're into your sparring and you're not getting lit up all the time, but you've got a nice training partner who's not killing you, and you notice when you throw your jab, they're throwing their jab back at you. We done a defensive video a little while ago speaking about the backhand catch. So we're going to do a little trigger, defense and attack. I'm going to trigger my opponent by throwing my jab, causing them to throw their jab back again. Knowing they're going to throw their jab back again, we're going to employ our little backhand catch. So, here's my trigger, boom. Here's my defense. Catch their jab back again. I'm going to throw my jab cross down the pipe from there. Key points. We've spoken about this before. We don't want to be extending the hand because that's their trick. If they notice that when they trigger you, you bring your hand out here, guess what? They come round. That's their trigger. So, this is why we should do it shadow boxing first, because I've got nothing to reach for, so I can keep my drill nice and tight. Turning the hand over, not putting the elbow forwards from there. So I'm going to go trigger, defense, and attack. Trigger, defense, attack. Just to be super safe, let's put a little roll out on the end. Trigger, defense, attack, exit. Okay? Trigger, defense and attack. Southpaws, slightly different. If you're triggering an orthodox's jab, I go trigger and they throw their jab back again. I don't really want to stay in this pocket. I'm just going to slip out to the outside. Probably come back with a hook and a cross. Trigger, defense and attack. So there's a little one for you southpaws. Trigger, defense, attack. Let's have a look at these on the bag. So working that into a heavy bag drill. Not enough people, particularly as a beginner boxer, work defense on a bag. They just see a heavy bag and just go at it like they're a man possessed or a woman possessed. So, good drill for it. Trigger, defense, attack, and exit. Okay? Trigger, defense and attack. Trigger, defense, attack, safe exit on the end. From here. Southpaws, like myself. Trigger, defense, slip to the outside of a jab. We've got a little shift going on here. Okay, trigger, defense, and attack. Trigger, defense, shift and attack. Work that into your bag routines, work it in your shadow boxing. Start thinking TDA. It could be a feint, trigger, defense. Yeah, that's from a southpaw. Trigger, doesn't have to be a full jab. Trigger, defense, attack and exit. Let's look at something else. So I'm not going to overload you with information on this subject today. I'm going to give you a couple of things to work on. Because the worst thing I do is just so much information you don't know where to start. So, we can obviously work a slip into this, doing this from an orthodox point of view. I'm also going to give you a slightly more advanced drill to work on, which is great for adding power. We'll do it after this one, so stick around for that. But the common theory is you slip to the outside of your last punch. So if I trigger with a jab, your jab's coming back, I'm now on the inside. There's nothing wrong with going to the opposite direction of your last punch, because in this situation, if I trigger with a jab and I know you're going to come back with a jab, yes, I'm going to go to the inside of that jab. Sometimes it feels a little bit, inside of my own jab, I mean. Sometimes that feels a little bit weird here, but something you should work on. Trigger, defense, I'm coming right over the top of that jab from there, boom. You can do that as an overhand, or you can come up as a straight right. I like it personally, boom, bam, back into the center line, jab, slip, that was my straight, trigger, defense, and attack from here. Southpaws works slightly different. Now you are going to go to the outside of your last punch. If you're with an orthodox, trigger, defense, and attack back again. Always want to make sure that you have some kind of head movement after your trigger if that's what you're working. Worst thing you can do is just stay here, okay? Trigger, defense, attack. Trigger, defense, and attack. After we've done the bag work, I'll give you something extra to work on with this drill, which is going to improve your power. So let's put that into a little bag work. So it doesn't have to be off to your first trigger. Maybe someone's trying to time your jab. Trigger, defense, and attack. But in the beginning, just work it solidly. Trigger, defense, here's my straight right. It could be my overhand, trigger, defense, overhand, back in again. It's called overhand for a reason, it's going over the hand. But trigger, defense, and attack. Trigger, defense, and attack. Southpaws, same thing. We just looked at it in shadow boxing. Understanding that their jab, the orthodox jab's going to come back at me, most likely. Trigger, defense, and attack. Yeah, so you hit it. Nice and tight. Work them into some bag routines as well. Just have that mentality. Trigger, defend what they're throwing back, and attack immediately. Let's look at a way to improve the power of the shot you just came back as your counter attack. Right, so working off of the same theory, we're going to take a slight step with that defense as well. So from an orthodox point of view, I'm going to trigger with my jab. So we just looked at trigger, slip, cross. We can get more power off of that by doing one simple thing. But it's going to take a little bit of work to get your timing right. So some people call this a drop step, some people call it a springboard step. It's essentially the same thing. I call it a drop step. So if I was to do a lateral step, there, lateral step. If I was to do a slip, there. What I'm going to do, I'm going to do my jab, I'm going to do my drop step, lateral step with a slip at the same time. Jab, I'm going to step over here, drop my shoulder, and I'm going to do my step back to my stance. Now, the timing. Backhand should land as that foot lands on the floor. So watch for these couple of common errors where we go trigger. See how the punch was after I came back up. Foot came in after I threw the punch. What you're looking to get is trigger, defense, attack. Watch for the other error, which is quite common in beginners when you bring your foundation back too close. So that would look like this. So I've gone here and I'm overpowering the shot. Remember, all the power is coming from my leg. So there's a high possibility you might two-bladed. Okay, so take your time. Just work that little, get your foot back to your foundation. From here. Another thing that does tend to go wrong when people, if you've never done this before, another thing that does tend to go wrong is actually bringing that foot forwards. They go, that's not wrong if you're going to follow it up with an angle change. But that's for another video. So some people do this when they first start, they actually come forwards with that, now going backwards. Don't want to do that. If you look, my foot is just going lateral from here. And I'm bending the leg and driving off of that leg for a nice powerful shot. That's going to increase the power of your backhand. Southpaws. We can do exactly the same thing, working against an orthodox. We're just going to go to the outside, come back with a nice long range hook from here. Hand and foot strike. Same time, same time. From here. Let's have a look at the power difference on a bag. Right, so if I just do a jab, slip, cross to begin with, without doing the drop step, whether you'll actually notice a huge amount of difference through the video, I don't know, but I guarantee there is a difference. So you'll have to let me know in the comments below when you try it, whether you find more power. You should find more power. But if I just go, got the range, jab, slip, cross, there'll be a fairly decent power there because I have good body mechanics. Fairly decent. Now I'm going to put the drop step in and drive off of that leg to land that shot. Okay? Way more mass behind the punch. Kinetic energy is built up in the leg and you can drive that shot home. Remember, you want to exit on the end as well. So a good drill to be doing would be off the end from here. Southpaws, again we can just work it. Jab, drop step to the outside from here. Have a go at that drop step. See if you get more power. You should do. Just avoid the common errors. If you come back too bladed, you won't be able to turn your hip, so you'll lose power. So spend a little bit of time where your feet start, toe heel align, making sure it comes back to the same position. Trigger, defense and attack. Something you should have in your mindset already. The quicker you get this into your head as a beginner, the better you're going to be at it. It's not just throwing punches. You need to shadow box like that if you're working your rotations, your fundamentals. You're 100%. You need to work your shadow boxing. But everything you do is probably going to trigger your opponent to do something. So if you're not doing trigger, defense and attack, and you're just doing trigger and defense, you're missing an opportunity to get a counter strike back in again. So anything that you do has some kind of trigger, defense, attack. Maybe when I throw my backhand, they've got a habit of coming to the liver afterwards. They see that as an opportunity. Trigger, defense, attack. Yeah, 100%. Try and get that theory in your head. Let me know in the comments if you like it. Work it into your shadow boxing. I know I've just shown you a couple of drills and it's just a few, I know. But next time you're doing your shadow boxing work, trigger, defense, attack. Yeah? Trigger, defense, attack. Work it into your drills. Let me know how you get on with it. Train diligently, train safe. Until next time, I'll see you soon.